Welcome to House Business Podcast. I'm your host, Dale Buchanan. This is episode number 4 and the final episode of sales training. In this episode, I'm going to talk about how to close the sale. We've already talked about how to build rapport and ask great questions so that you can do a needs analysis with the customer and find out exactly what they need. Then we talked about presenting to them only their needs, not the things they don't need. And in the last podcast, it was how to overcome objections. And today we're going to talk about closing the sale. Keep in mind that I'm not going to give you exact script on how to close the sale because we don't really use those anymore. Some things that you're not going to learn in this podcast and that I don't recommend are things like the if-then close. If I can get it for you at this price, then would you like to move forward today? Or if I can get it for you with those options, are you ready to take delivery today? That's outdated. That's 1980s techniques. Another one that I don't really like is the feel, felt, found. You can use a variation of this, and I'll go over it later in this podcast. Feel, felt, found is, I know how you feel, Mr. Prospect. A lot of my clients have felt the same way. However, when they took delivery of my service or the product that I'm selling, they have found that they were very happy with the outcome in making that decision. People are used to these things, so you don't want to use these cheesy closing techniques anymore. Here's the bottom line when it comes to closing a sale. If you've done your job correctly, meaning if you've asked the right questions, if you've built enough rapport, if you actually have something that can solve their problem, that's a big one, and you should have no problem easily preventing objections or easily overcoming objections, not projections, easily overcoming objections, and then moving forward with closing the sale should be very easy to do. In my dog training business, I talk to people on the phone and I do the sales over the phone. And when I get somebody that I know is a good fit for me and they're very interested, I just send them the information on my programs and let them choose one of 3 or 4 different programs for their puppy or dog. And I let them decide. If I'm the right trainer for them, they have to be excited about it. They have to be enthusiastic and they have to want me to come to their house, want to spend 8, 12, 16 weeks with me, working with their dog and collaborating in between sessions with text messages and so forth. If they don't want that, I don't want to be the dog trainer. So why am I going to pressure them into buying something that they don't want? It just makes no sense. The way that I like to close the sale is very simple. When I sell a service, I like to close the sale just by a very simple question. Are you ready to get started? That's it. Another thing that I will do if I'm in person, when I sold personal training for over 20 years, I would sit down with somebody who was interested in personal training, and I would have all of the contracts next to me for signing up for personal training. Back then, everything wasn't done electronically. It was all done on paper. So now everything's done through the computer and your phone and so forth. I would just start filling out. And sometimes when I do an in-person consultation for dog training, I'll use this technique. I just start filling out the service agreement near the end of the presentation. And what that does is that shows them how confident I am that we are going to move forward. And I really do want to work with them. So I just start filling out the service agreement, or if you have a contract, the contract, just start filling it out. You don't even have to ask them. You're assuming. That's called assuming the close. I like this one a lot because all they can do is say, no, I'm not ready to move forward right now. Oh, no problem. I had a client do that with me about a year ago. And I went over their house to talk to them about 2 puppies. They had 2 of them. So I did a free in-home consultation for them because it was a unique situation. They had 2 puppies. So I really needed to see what was going on there. It was a Gray Pyrenees and some other doodle dog. And we got through the end of the conversation and presentation and checking out their dogs, and they really liked me a lot. They checked out many other trainers, and they really liked me a lot. And I started filling out the service agreement, and I handed it over to the male, those husband and wife, to the husband. And he says, "Oh, you take payment all up front?" "Yes, sir." He handed the service agreement back to me. "Okay, I'll be in touch." "Okay, great. Have a good day." And that was it. And you know what? About a week later, they had the link to make the payment, and it just showed up in my inbox through PayPal. They made the payment. And they call me up. They say, "Oh, we made the payment. When can we start?" "Yeah, sure. We start Wednesday. No problem. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to working with you guys." So I didn't pressure them, and they came back anyway. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes, even when I did personal training, I would talk to somebody about personal training. I had a personal training gym, a studio in Boca Raton, Florida for many years. And I would have people come in and I would do a body fat composition, a fitness test on them, and all these things to check out their fitness level and what's going on with their body. And I'd present that to them, and they'd be so overwhelmed by that sometimes they'd run the other direction. And I completely understand that, and that's fine. I did very well in the fitness industry and did very well with my personal training business. But sometimes people, they just get overwhelmed with it. It's just too much for them to take in, to let them know they have 40% body fat and they're completely out of shape and they have a lot of training to do. That's sometimes not what people want to hear. So that was me not doing a good job on my part to identify the exact needs of that customer or potential customer. So when you're closing the sale, one of the best ways that I like to do is to assume the sale. Assuming the sale is a very confident way to show that you are going to be moving forward with that client. If they show any reluctance to moving forward or any resistance at all, don't pressure them, don't continue to move forward. What I've seen a lot of people do is just get the contract and just fill it out, sign it, and just turn it around and put it into the buyer's right in front of the buyer and give them the pen and just say nothing. And if you've ever studied a lot of training courses like I have, Brian Tracy, Tom Hopkins, people like that, they've done this technique a lot. And sometimes it could take 15 minutes for somebody to sign the paper. Now, I've never had that. But if you're doing home improvement or you're selling cars or you're doing various things, this is a good way to do it, is just to put the contract in front of them and then they can look it over. When they're ready to sign, they will. If not, that's okay as well. But at least you save yourself the upfront objection of, do you want to move forward? No, that's a rejection. Are you ready to buy now? No, that's a form of rejection. Like I said previously, in sales, you have to take a lot of rejection. It's part of the deal. Not everybody hires me for puppy training or dog training. A lot of them do, but not everyone. And I don't really worry about it. I just move on to the next one. Closing the sale is an art form. You have to have impeccable timing as well. You have to know when the time is right to start asking people the closing questions like, what date is good for you to get started? What's ideal for you? Well, I have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off, and the afternoon is best. Perfect. I have those too. So when we get started, you can fill out the form that I send you through email, and you can choose whichever of those two dates work best for you, Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon. That's a really good way to do it. Now, a lot of times what I'll do if people don't respond after a day or two is I'll call, text, or email them back and say, my schedule's filling up very fast. I have one date available. I have one time slot available. It fits into what you're looking for too. It is Wednesday afternoon at 2:00, but they're filling up fast. Just wanted to let you know that. That creates a sense of urgency with the person. And another thing that I might do at that point, if I really want to get their business, is say, if you sign up right now, just throw in a $100 coupon. I'll give you a $100 coupon. Put their name on it, Mary 100, Top Gun, which is Top Gun Dog Training is my business. And they use this coupon today to lock in your space pay for the program, and you'll be all set. And I'll send you a welcome email of things to do for the first session. This works very well because you're creating urgency. You're giving them a little incentive to make a decision. They have to make a decision. And if they can't make a decision, nobody wins. It's a lose-lose situation for everybody. They can't make a decision who to hire. The dog suffers. The owners get more frustrated. No dog training business gets the income so they can build their business. So again, going back to the overcoming objections in lesson number 3, my job is to get somebody that's on the fence to make a decision either way. And creating urgency and giving them a little bit of a discount, a motivation to move forward, usually works very well. I hope you enjoyed this episode of How's Business, and I hope that you got something out of all 4 of these sales training episodes of the podcast so that you could put it all together. You listen to all 4, you have to put it all together and use these techniques and let me know how they work for you. If you have any questions about anything, you can always contact me through my website, huntsvillebusinesscoach.com or dalebuchanan.net. Have a great day.